Let's get one thing straight. India won the final, but when it comes to dignity, to sportsmanship, and respect for the game, they were the real losers of this tournament. I'm Sidra, and this is Sidra's Silly Point. It's mind-boggling to me that the Bollywood industry isn't already enough for such theatrics, that the cricket team is now needed to take the drama center stage on the cricket field the whole tournament. And this isn't just about a cricket match. This is about how the Indian team, backed by its board, its government, and to an extent, the ICC, managed to turn the gentleman's game into a full-blown political theater. From the very start, in the first outing, the signs were clear. The toss, which is the most basic, neutral tradition of cricket, was tainted. Indian captain SuryaKumar Yadav refused to shake hands with the Pakistani captain, and not once. Then post-match, the Indian team again refuses to shake hands with the Pakistani players. Their excuse? Some things are bigger than cricket. Well, what exactly is bigger than sportsmanship, mutual respect, and fair play? Are they implying the players on the other side are somehow personally responsible for political tragedies? Is this how low they've sunk? To use cricket passive-aggressively, in fact, purely aggressively, to punish players who've done nothing wrong except wear the other jersey. And I'm not saying Pakistani players were dying to shake hands with the Indian players, but this cold shoulder isn't bravery. In fact, it isn't even nationalism. It's just performative politics, plain and simple. And what's sad is this wasn't just a one-time incident. This is a pattern. The shenanigans never stop there. Fast forward to Super 4 match, Captain SuryaKumar Yadav and Pakistani pacer Haris Rauf were both fined 30% of their match fee. Saibzada Farhan also got a warning. But how is this balanced? Haris made gestures towards the crowd, not to players, not towards the players, not to the Indian team, or even ICC officials. SuryaKumar's actions were directed at Pakistan's captain, at Pakistan's team and nation. Are we pretending that those are all the same things now? Is this justice? Then we get to the final. One would hope that by now the theatrics would stop, that India would step up and act like champions. They were the favorites, but no, it only got worse. Before the match began, where two captains are supposed to pose together with the trophy, SuryaKumar Yadav refuses to stand next to Salman Ali Agha for a picture. Seriously? We're now doing high school level, don't stand next to them behavior at the international level? What message are you sending to young fans? The pettiness is pride now? What precedent are you trying to set with this cheap theatrics? Why are you playing? Like, why? Why are you playing? Then again, there were no handshakes at the toss, and if it wasn't enough, then we saw Jasprit Bumrah, the poster boy of Indian bowling, although belted by Saibzada Farhan yet again. And if you ask me, he's pampered a little too much, while the other Indian fast bowlers are just thrown in the ring, but that's for another day. He makes a political gesture aimed directly at Haris Rauf after dismissing him. And let me remind you, this is the same Haris Rauf whose team gave Bumrah thoughtful gifts after the birth of his child. The fact of the matter is that this act was directed at a player, not at the crowd, but at a player in front of the umpires who've done nothing but raise their fingers unnecessarily in the tournament. And not just this game, where Shaheen's LBW decision was reversed after review showed the ball hitting his gloves, or the previous games between Pakistan and India, but just take the last Super 4 between India and Sri Lanka, and that will speak volume about below par umpiring this whole tournament. Cricket is a battlefield of skill, not politics. You can be passionate, you can be aggressive, you can bring aggression to the sport, but when it turns disrespectful, it's no longer about the game. It's about egos, it's about agendas, it's about propaganda. The Indian team also reportedly only allowed pre-approved Indian presenters to interview their players. Really? Really? Is this cricket or a government press conference? Is this a team or a PR machine? I mean, is this why we saw Sanjay Manjrekar interviewing Sanju Samson and the spinners Varun and Kuldeep post-match? And hey, the chaos didn't end there. Then came the grand finale of embarrassment. the post-match presentation, which was over an hour late, and they played the India-Sri Lanka game highlights on TV in the meantime, and we had no clue when the post-match presentation would begin. When it finally did begin, we see the Pakistani players come up to receive their awards and were heavily booed by the crowd that was left. And then the presenter, Simon Dewell, announces that the Indian team will not be accepting their awards. The Indian team refused to accept the trophy from ACC chairman Mohsin Naqvi. They literally won the tournament and wouldn't collect the trophy because they didn't want to accept it from a Pakistani official. How deeply political, how tragically insecure do you have to be to disrespect the sport itself like this? The ACC chairman, Mohsin Naqvi, then decides rightfully not to send the trophy to the Indian team. And suddenly, the same team that refused to collect the award is now playing the victim. SuryaKumar, the very player who started this whole theatrical saga, comes out and says that he's never seen anything like this before since he's followed cricket. Well, yes, Surya, because you caused it. Then comes the BCCI rep saying they will lodge a strong protest against the ACC chairman. Wait, what? You disrespect the officials, reject the trophy, politicize the match and the whole tournament, refuse handshakes, and you are filing a protest? This isn't just arrogance, this is entitlement. This is the slow poisoning of a sport we all love. And what hurts the most? The ICC, led conveniently by an Indian figure, will likely overlook this or would just give a slap on the hand when this act deserves suspension of the Indian captain and the team. So let me ask this. What happens when a cricket board becomes more powerful than the game itself? This is what's happening. When players become political pawns and the tournament becomes a PR campaign, this is what's happening. If the ICC does nothing, if they continue to let India use its influence to bend the rules, rewrite the narrative, and disrespect opponents, then we are no longer watching cricket. We are watching controlled theater with nationalism replacing sportsmanship and propaganda replacing pride. I'm saying this because I love the game, because I care about what cricket means to kids, to fans, to someone like me, to nations that find joy in it, even in dark times. And what India has done in this tournament is that it betrayed all of that. You might have won the cup, but you have lost the respect. And in cricket, that matters more. On to the actual game now. Pakistan were sent in to bat first after India won the toss, and the start was cautious, maybe too cautious in my opinion. Shivam Dubey began with 5 dots in his first over, building early pressure, but Sahibzada Farhan looked like he'd shaken off the nerves quickly. He charged against Bumrah in his first over, and he smacked a 6 and a 4 in his second over. And it didn't stop there. Farhan was in sublime touch, especially against spin. Clean hitting against Kuldeep. I think it was a couple of sixes. Akshar and Varun, and it was the kind of intent Pakistani fans have been desperate to see. But unfortunately, the man at the other end, Fakhar Zaman, just didn't show up. I guess he ended up with this 40-something score and a decent strike rate, but let's be honest, with the experience he has and the platform he was given, Fakhar completely failed to take responsibility once Farhan was out. He was stuck, dot after dot, no momentum, and in doing so, he forced the rest of the lineup to play reckless shots under pressure. Now I'm not saying the middle order collapse is entirely on him. They played foolishly, but Fakhar had the opportunity to anchor the innings and push the game forward. He didn't. Not in this game, not in the whole tournament. Yes, he's been a match winner in the past, but this tournament exposed his inability to adapt, to lead, and to carry Pakistan when it mattered. And then not sure why Simon Ayub was sent to number 3. I made a video about his obsession with no-look shots, but today he found yet another way to throw his wicket away. Why was he sent in at 1 down when the team had momentum and needed to carry it forward? If there was ever a moment to send in someone like Mohammad Haris to ride the wave, that was it. Simon Ayub has struggled all tournament, barely any runs, and throwing him into that moment only added pressure on him and the team. And yes, Haris himself was again a disappointment, falling cheaply, and later botching a key run out of Tilak Varma in the field. But the decisions made before his entry didn't help either. The rest of the lineup, well, a complete failure. No composure, no plan, leaving Mohammad Nawaz, who made baffling decisions, taking a single on the first ball of Bumrah leaving Rauf to play the rest of the over. And then with Abrar, the last man standing, that was also ridiculous. Pakistan's middle order gifted their wickets. Forget strategy, forget strike rotation. This was self-destruction. Unfortunately, Pakistan's batting is built like Jenga, and it fell apart like a house of cards. Pakistan went from 113 for 1 to 146 all out. 3 wickets fell in 1 over, a batting collapse of historic proportions and a heartbreaking missed opportunity to post a massive total, which was very much on the cards when Farhan and Fakhar were out there. Credit where it's due, Kuldeep Yadav was phenomenal with 4 wickets in a high-pressure final. Akshar and Varun chipped in with 2 wickets each and bowled tight lines. The Indian spinners choked the scoring. Bumrah, despite the hype, looked average and was once again belted by Farhan. But in the midst of it all, Indian captain SuryaKumar Yadav decided to add another layer of disgrace under his belt. In one of the tournament's lowest moments, he appealed for obstruction of the field against Salman Ali Agha. The replays were crystal clear. Salman didn't even change direction. Even the commentators were stunned. There was no obstruction, no incident, nothing. Just another episode in SuryaKumar's ongoing saga of petty theatrics. Let's not forget, he barely contributed with the bat at all the whole tournament. His only noteworthy score was in the first match against Pakistan, but his focus clearly wasn't on cricket the whole tournament. It was showboating, it was steering controversy. Then came India's turn to chase. Fahim Ashraf struck immediately. I think it was first ball of his over, dismissing Abhishek Sharma with his very first delivery. Shaheen followed it up and got SuryaKumar caught by captain Salman Ali Agha. Then Fahim again, this time removing Shubman Gill with a great catch by Haris Rauf. India were 20 for 3 in 4 overs, and Pakistan were on top. Tilak Varma and Sanju Samson, they showed calmness and they were in good touch, especially after the other night against Sri Lanka too, where they performed really well. Sanju Samson would have been a goner had Hussain Talat held on to a pretty easy catch in Abrar's first over, but the drop catch put India back in the front. They built the innings with smart rotation, taking singles and the occasional boundary against Nawaz, against Abrar and Saim Ayub. But this phase tested Salman Ali Agha's captaincy, and it was poor. At the most crucial stage with spin working and runs were kind of drying up, he turned to Haris Rauf to bowl the 15th over. Even the commentators were shocked. Coach Mike Hesson was seen yelling at Haris for good reason. He leaked 17 runs in that over. That was painful to watch and undid all the pressure that built up by Abrar and Saim up to that point. When you have Abrar and Saim putting pressure and there's Nawaz, and not to forget Agha himself is an off spinner. Does he forget that? It is beyond comprehension why you would opt for Haris Rauf on a pitch that's supporting spin. Worse still, Abrar was then forced to change ends for the next over, which was another confusing call by the one and only Salman Ali Agha. Haris finished with 50 runs conceded, and this is your frontline pacer. The one you chose over Wasim Jr. He's failed to deliver in pressure games repeatedly, whether it was Kohli belting him, or I think it was 2022 World Cup, or failing to defend the total against USA in the last World Cup. How long are we going to wait for Haris Rauf to perform under pressure? Tilak Varma and Dubey took the game away. Fahim did provide another breakthrough in the shape of Dubey's wicket, but it was too little too late. Rinku Singh, playing his only bowl of the tournament, finished with a strike rate of 400. And that was it. India won the final of Asia Cup 2025. India may be the champions, but what transpired on and off the field was disgraceful, dishonorable, and frankly shameful. From SuryaKumar's no handshake, then no photo, and petty appeal to the post-match presentation controversies where the Indian team refused to receive the trophy from the ACC chairman. This wasn't cricket. This was political theater. The ICC should make an example of this. There should be consequences, but let's be honest, we all know that's not going to happen. When politics runs deeper than the pitch and one board has the power to bend the rules, accountability is a joke. It becomes a joke. India may have the title, but this tournament exposed cracks in integrity that no trophy can cover. On the other hand, Pakistan were never the favorites and have a lot to work on starting from the grassroots level. I think I'm going to stop right here. Until my next video, take care.